Hey,
Hey, how you doing, Wayne?
can't complain. Can't complain. Just in the office, watching the day go by from socially distance. Yeah, socially distant.
In the office, you mean at your house, right?
Oh yeah, and my home office. Yeah, me and my wife actually share the office. So that's been a little fun adventure over this last month or so. Yeah.
So you guys are in the same room?
Yeah, she has a desk over there, and then I have a desk that I kind of a little makeshift desk I put together for the duration of the pandemic, and yeah, it's worked out pretty well. We take phone calls pretty often, and so one of those will step out of the room or whatnot, but it's worked out very well.
So is she working right now, or is she?
She is. She's actually she stepped out since I'm doing this. She's in the living room. She works for USAA, so she's on a team meeting right now. Yeah.
Oh, very good, very
Yeah.
good. So Wayne, how are you? How are you doing with you and Eve? How are you all doing with since the this COVID-19 initiated?
Uh, I would say it's been very nice. Initially, I think like most people, it was kind of hard being stuck at home and not getting to enjoy the freedom of doing the things you wanted to when you wanted to do them. However, I think again, like most people, we've acclimated to the new normal, which is just being cautious when you go out, limiting the interactions you have to the best of your ability, and then finding new kind of creative ways to spend your time. So for us, that's been a lot of walks in the neighborhood and cooking a lot of meals at home and catching up with people via Zoom. I've probably done more video conferencing this last month than I have my entire life.
And you said you do a lot of walks. I was my girlfriend and I, Maddie, we were talking about this, and I think not only was doing webinars, but walking has been being outside. I mean, it's there's been a blessing in disguise with all this stuff.
Especially with the great weather that we've had, uh, given compared to I remember Fiesta last year. During this time, it was so hot, and even
Yeah.
yesterday we went for a walk in the evening. It was cool, very nice. You smell the jasmine in the air. Like it's been the weather has cooperated at least for the most part.
All right, Wayne. We have Wayne Smith here. Just to back up a little bit and why we're doing this, who he is, what's going on with our lives, and everything in between. And we're going to fit it all in about 15 minutes. So um, Wayne is a product of going to SAC and also Roosevelt High School. And he's in the financial advising, financial field. He works for the CoStar Group, and I'm sure we'll learn about all of that. Thanks for UIW tuning in, their study abroad group. Sam is on there, and we're getting a lot of people joining in, so thank you for tuning in. Wayne Smith, now you're not originally from San Antonio, though.
No, originally from Torrance, which is a little suburb of Los Angeles. We moved here 1995, so I was 7 years old, and
Mm.
I've been in San Antonio ever since. I go back, I want to say, every couple of years. My wife and I were just there in December to celebrate Christmas and New Year's with some family. But no, yeah, San Antonio, pretty much a Texan by now.
Very nice. And what do you do? I know I said you work for the CoStar Group. What does the CoStar Group actually do?
Sure. So, CoStar is a global, pretty much a commercial real estate data group that they have teams of researchers in different lines of business that go out and collect demographic information on commercial real estate buildings. And then we sell that information to interested parties, banks, people that are looking to buy or invest in real estate. And then there's a few different lines of business. So we have the commercial real estate line, and then we have apartments.com, which you may have seen. We have all these commercials with Jeff Goldblum where he's kind of goofy and has all these funny skits. And then I work in the rural land division, so I manage like large land purchases made through all of South Texas. So people will use the analytics on our website to gauge interest, to look at demographic information, and then market the land they have if they're going to sell or develop. So yeah, it wraps a lot of stuff into one. But I did initially come from the finance industry, so I was in banking, which is how I got familiar with CoStar. I used one of their products called LoopNet, which allows you to go in there. So when I would underwrite a loan, I would use LoopNet to look up various information to help me complete the underwriting.
And how did you get interested while you were going to SAC? Does SAC have some classes and can you be certified, or how did you learn about getting into the finance industry?
So when I started going to college, I took a gap year after I left high school, and in the meantime, in the gap year, I moved from working like a retail job, that I was working during high school, and I wanted something that was a little bit more flexible and easy on the schedule. So I got a job at a bank doing personal banking, Broadway Bank. And so I did that for several years, and I loved I was like, man, this is so great having a Monday through Friday schedule, weekends off, benefits, all that kind of stuff that you sometimes don't experience in a retail job. And so that was 2007. And so ever since then, I've been the white collar job.
Does CoStar have a large presence in San Antonio? You have some good number of employees?
I would say that our regional office, so we have the apartments division, the rural land division, and then the commercial real estate division. Between those three in San Antonio, I want to say we have about 20 employees. We're headquartered out of Washington, D.C., and then we have regional offices in Spain, Germany, the UK, Canada, Mexico, China. And so we have about a 90% market share in all of the industries we compete in. So they have a large presence, especially the researchers are mostly based out of Virginia, DC, that area. So they travel all over. They'll take pictures of buildings, do interviews, get the demographic information, and then compile reports and upload that to the system.
Okay. And are they under out of curiosity, you mentioned the other countries, are they under the same name in those other countries?
Yes, I think Germany is still under a different name. And then we just recently acquired a group called STR, which is more of the hotel industry data, which is kind of a new line of business for us. So I don't know too much about that. It's not something I'm really involved with, but it seems to be a growing, besides the recent pandemic, it seems to be a pretty strong industry. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Cool. All right. Well, speaking of internationally, you're part of the World Affairs Council. I know you came when I came on board as the executive director. You're one of the first people I met because of your personal interest in international affairs. Give us some background about your interest and what has led you to become interested in international affairs, and what made you want to join the World Affairs Council Young Professionals Group.
Sure. So I would say initially my interest in international affairs began when I took a trip. I had traveled before, but I had never really been to anywhere like the Middle East. And I took a trip to Jordan in 2015. And that kind of opened my eyes to a whole new world of possibilities in my mind that I had never experienced before, never just taken the time to think of, really. And then my wife is originally from Kazakhstan. And when we became married, she's traveled extensively all through for school and pleasure. And so we traveled a bit some, and she loves to travel. I think she's probably opened my love of traveling more so than I initially anticipated. But so yeah, that's what really interested us in just being a part of an international community. And then
Wayne, you're breaking up just a little bit.
Oh, sure, sorry.
You're breaking up just.
Can you hear me better now?
I can hear you, but your screen looks like you're morphing as we speak.
Let me know when it clears up, and I'll continue.
Okay, I think.
You good?
Yep, there we go.
Okay, cool. So after my wife and I got married, we were looking for ways to actively participate in San Antonio, where we lived, in something that was international. And so with that, I was driving to work one day. I want to say this is 2 or 3 years ago, and I heard an ad on TPR for the World Affairs Council, and I had never heard of that before. So I got to work, got to my office, looked it up, and it looked pretty cool. You know, I looked at some of the programming they had, and so then we joined and attended the annual members event, got to meet some of the people there, and then you took over as the leader. And ever since then, it's just been pretty phenomenal to witness what you've accomplished and the World Affairs Council at large. So we have really enjoyed a lot of the content, especially with the Young Leaders, Young Professional series. A highlight, I would say, is having Will Hurd come and join us for that question and answer session at the Rooftop Bar, and some of the other just amazing speakers we've had. So we've really enjoyed it, getting connected to other people who are also young, who are also interested in international policy and relations. And yeah, I would say there's not many other places or organizations in San Antonio that have the kind of content that World Affairs Council has.
Well, thanks for the kind words. I think we're kind of reflecting on the people that are supporting the council, and that's our response, is because there's an interest about the topics, and we have a board of directors and team that helps us, including the young professionals. And I know we have talked about the Peace Corps, which was going to be hosted by we had a Peace Corps panel that was supposed to be on 4 de Mayo. And we're still planning that. So if you're interested in that, we're going to try to do that on Zoom, and or if we get all the actors involved who are part of it, it may just be that we do it in person. I don't know. And I know former Mayor Hardberger has expressed interest on being on that panel and saying a few words, as well as Joshua Castro, who represents the Peace Corps. But anyway, I appreciate the kind words. What are some of the now you've traveled quite extensively, and is there a place that stands out for you that you'd like to go back to again?
Are you domestically or internationally? Just in general?
Internationally.
Internationally. Yeah. And I can't say this too loud, otherwise my wife will hear me and she'll push for it because she would love to move back there. But I love Germany. It was very nice. I think one of the things that stuck out to me, which some people know this a little bit better, but over there the public transit system is much more effective. And we got on the bus one day going somewhere, and I remember the bus stopped, and this kid must have been 6 or 7 years old, a little boy with a backpack about as big as him, got onto the bus and he just sat down, and the bus took off. And I remember thinking, how weird is this that, parents are just so trusting it's okay just for a little child to get on this bus and take public transit to go to school. And I enjoyed that. Everything there is pretty efficient. And so I would love to go back and visit. We have family there outside of Frankfurt, and then we have a friend's wedding in Slovakia this October, and so we're planning on stopping in Germany. We'll probably fly into Frankfurt and then go to Prague and then Slovakia. So yeah, it'll be
very nice. It's interesting. I had a similar, as far as a kid getting on a bus and the safety and all that. and Magdalena, who's watching, she'd be happy to hear this. Is I felt the same way when I traveled to Vienna, of a similar thing with kids in the park right in the middle of Vienna, which was remarkable. What about topics? What are some of the international issues that may affect your business, or whether you're personally or professionally invested in topics? What are some of the areas that you keep an eye out for?
I mean, one of the things I'm pretty keen towards currency exchange rates and just the markets in general. So I like to read a lot of stories on that. I feel like I try to keep my finger on the pulse. That's more of probably a point because that affects almost everyone's business. Personally, I have been interested to see. I think over the last several years, we've seen a lot of polarization in politics, not just in this country, but other countries as well. And so it's interesting to see now that we're in this modern society with technology linking all of us much closer together. I think it's interesting to watch how that unfolds and how different countries deal with maybe populist elected leaders. And so what the response is going to be from the nonprofit community to the general public to various industries, because everyone has to keep up with, what happens in changing regimes and leaderships. And so, yeah, I wish we had more reaching across the aisle in our country as well as others. But that's probably the one I focus on the most, is just, taking a look at these different countries. Kazakhstan, where my wife is from, was run by a single president after the fall of the Soviet Union, and he just recently relinquished power after many, many years to his daughter. And so it's kind of dynastic, and there's a lot of human rights abuse there and lack of liberty. And so I think a lot of times we take those things for granted in our country. And so it's interesting. We have a lot of friends that we follow on Instagram or whatnot that are over there, and they'll send us videos or tell us what's happening. And if that were to happen here, we would just be astounded. And you would think with the prevalence of technology and the ability to share things that there would be more of an uproar over certain things. But it just goes to show that we get looped into whichever news cycle we happen to be focusing on. And sometimes it's hard to zoom out and take a look at what's going around you, which is another benefit of being attached to something like the World Affairs Council, because it really does it brings your mind to other things. We've had speakers from countries I don't spend a lot of time thinking about, and then when I hear their story or look into their history, it really just goes to kind of highlight there are so many things happening across the world. How do you become a good global citizen, and what does that mean?
That's an excellent point. I think when the Namibian ambassador came, I think you were there, if I'm not mistaken. That was great. That was kind of what you're talking about. So we had someone who said hi to you, and I was trying to look back. Okay, the username is M_NOS Mama. Hi, Wayne.
That's my cousin that I grew up with in California. Yeah, my cousin Darla.
Darla. Well, hello, Darla, all the way from California. And we have several other people. VJ says hello. And we have Sarah Allred, who's also on the committee.
Hey, Sarah.
And Carolina Topkova also says hi. And let's see who else. I may be missing hello from Slovakia. Wow, look at that.
Yeah, all the way from Slovakia, and there's Sarah.
We need to get you on more because you're getting the true international audience. Well, I think you put our mission and the involvement of our speakers. I think you put that very nicely in a nutshell. So I appreciate that. Any other words of wisdom before we? Oh, by the way, thanks for when you said we need to zoom in. you not only plugged the World Affairs Council, but you plugged Zoom in. So that's a sponsorship I need to get.
Yeah, that's some stock we should all own. I don't know if I have words of wisdom. I would just, I think the most recent thing that comes to mind is over the last period of self-isolation or, being kind of closed off towards everyone. Freedom is something, or not freedom, but the ability to be nice to others in the limited social interactions that we have is something that cannot be underrated. I'm sure almost everyone has experienced a trip to the grocery store recently and how unnerving that can kind of be. And just having the ability to still be kind to other people that doesn't cost you anything. And so, it means a lot in times like this when people are worried and unsure and going through stress that maybe some of us don't even know about. So, just be kind.
I like that. Wayne Smith, part of our World Affairs Council Young Professionals Committee, also with CoStar Group. Check them out. If there are any services that they could provide, I'm sure it's on their website. We're actually veering off from the Young Professionals on Thursday. We're going to talk to one of our board members, John J.J. Casey. He's a former pilot, former diplomat, and an author. He's written a couple books, which one of them is a spy thriller called Devolution. Of course, you're seeing it backwards. So looking forward for that on Thursday. We're also going to bring in a few others in the coming weeks from the Young Professionals Group. Wayne, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Everyone, thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, please DM us. If you're interested in the Young Professionals Group, please message us to get involved in that. And thanks for everyone's support. We appreciate it. Appreciate you for watching. Wayne, say hi to Eve and appreciate you for coming on, man.
Will do. It's good seeing you, Armin. Bye.
All right. Take care.